Did you send that Zoom link to, you did? Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. I got wise. Look at my size of my cursor now, and I slowed it down. I slowed it down too.
I didn't realize it's 9 o'clock.
Progress.
I don't know. When we have other Zoom, this woman Zoom in, where is the audio gonna come from?
TV.
TV, okay,
That's how it does with the barrier.
okay,
The barrier light.
okay.
And the volume. You have somebody coming in for this one?
No, 10 o'clock.
Can I open these? Y'all care?
I don't, doesn't bother me. Wait, no one more.
Keith's not gonna be here.
Okay.
You knew that, didn't you? He said it Monday.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, he did. I just forgot.
Yeah, no, Keith's not gonna be here. He'll be here, he's gonna try to be here for court, but he couldn't be here this morning.
Right. Okay. So we are ready. We are good to go.
I don't even get my glasses. I can't see. So it's a different session at the end?
Yes. Well, it's we have somebody joining us that's doing a presentation. That's what it is.
But it's still working.
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, still part of the workshop.
What basically ours is kind of a 10.
They're zooming in. Yeah,
It looks as. I thought I was that, I'm gonna read them, so it can-
it's 10. All right, I'll call this meeting to order, budget workshop on Wednesday, the 13th of June. And first up, we have on there with the library. There it is. So. And I put your. Put your proposed budget, you just want to give us an overview?
The very top of that is office supplies. It doesn't show that. It's kind of cut off. There you go. There you go.
All right,
Okay. Okay, basically, I have everything on there is the very same as last year, which, is working really well for us. I'm not asking for anything. My budget, I've called all my suppliers. I'm not expecting any surprises as far as, price increases on, books, software, office supplies, and library supplies, and books are our biggest expenses. It's what it takes to run the library, cover the books, labels, Um, everything that it,
Okay,
damp supplies, things to take care of the books, book costs, the suppliers that I buy the books for, I get at least 49% discount off of what the cost is to buy them brand new, the suppliers that supply the books,
Mhm.
which is a good deal, free shipping on the books. So like I said, I'm asking for the very same thing.
okay, just on library supplies, you got 2,000
Right.
last year, 2,000 this year.
Mhm.
Yeah, 23, you spent 1,400 so far.
Right. But we have to order, this week, we've ordered 3 times from the library supplier people, book coverings, and we had so many books come in. According to, you know, the authors, when they write, some months are heavier than others when new books come out. And, book covering supplies, the things that you cover them with and all, they only come, there's so much on a roll or some of it's film that you cover the paperback books with. And, when we ordered, you know, only covers so much. Right now, we're really heavy into summer reading, and we've got these packets that we're, giving this, kids with all the summer reading supplies. And, we handed out 95 packets the first 2 hours yesterday. So we ran out of bags again. So we placed an emergency order of bags again yesterday. So we've placed 3 orders already this week for library supplies. Probably going to have to order some more this week. So we're going to run out of library supplies probably before September. So I expect to use every bit of that $2,000 before September.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's a good number, for supplies. Office supplies is the same. We use a lot of copy paper, which, you know, we're contracted the same as y'all through the county with Abel's Land. I think copy paper is about $50 a box now.
I discovered that sweet, that was,
Yeah. Yes,
I would buy $30 a box.
yeah.
We don't have a contract with Ladies Land anymore. You can order that paper from anyone.
Right. Yeah,
You don't have to order from Ladies.
right. But
We
we
buy
order
from
from
Quill.
Abel's Land, which is who was contracting those, right?
No, we don't have an office.
Not, we're not through Abel's, but our office.
We have 2 years.
Who is it?
Huh?
Who is it?
Thank you.
We don't have a contract in that law anymore.
Oh,
You can order from whomever you would like.
oh, okay. I thought we were still contracted to you. Okay,
We
Oh, I'm
order
glad to
from
know
Quill-
that.
We order for Quill and get ours.
all right. All right. Okay, then I can shop around then. All right. Okay,
All right, tell us about your staffing.
pardon?
You're requesting a additional part-time person.
Yes, the only thing that I'm
Right
asking,
now,
yes, is I would like to have a 20-hour a week, desk clerk for the library. We've never had one, but we could really use a person because there's only 3 of us. And if anybody, is off at the library, that just leaves us with 2 people. And so, there's nobody to step in. I have to be the person at the front desk if they're going to lunch or,
don't you have
Take off.
volunteers that help you out?
yes.
Don't you have a schedule of volunteers?
And, so I talked with, Jessica in HR and asked her, what the range was for different people that are part-time in different jobs within the county. And she gave me, a range of anywhere between $12 and $14 an hour. So that's what I put down. for a range to see, you know, if that would be acceptable.
And how many hours? How many hours will we get to?
20 hours a week. That way it would just be a part-time person. You wouldn't have to pay them any insurance or any benefits of any type. Um,
Do you need
they
them all
strictly-
year, or, is like, you know, you said summertime is peak season. Would you want to just do a part-time help, just, I mean,
Right.
I'm assuming summertime is
Right.
peak season.
just a part-time,
Part-time
20
summer help,
20 hours a week, but
would you need it in the, like, is the winter and the fall busy? Or you would need one, or would you just need one in the summer, or you need it year round?
right, just a desk clerk.
Year round? Or
I don't
just-
have anybody now.
I mean, what are you, I'm asking is, you want a part-time, do you need that part-time year round, or just like in your peak season in the summer?
I would like it year round because there's only 3 of us, and for a library our size, they should have 5 full-time people, and there's 3 of us. So I don't think that it would be unreasonable to have a 20-hour a week person, because I myself have been at the library for almost 13 years, and you can ask Jessica, my vacation time accrues at the rate of 11 hours a month, and I can't take it because I can't be gone, because that leaves me 2 people at my front desk. And for them to take lunch, that leaves 1 person there if I'm up there. So so the girls and I, we talked about it, and we decided that we would ask for a single thing for the library, even for ourselves, a pay increase whatsoever, if we could just have a 20-hour a week person. We're happy with the library. We like our job. We love the library. We like being able to provide for the people of the county, and the children love the library. And our youth services librarian does a fantastic job. We got kids everywhere. You should come by someday and see our happy little people that are in the library.
Okay.
Nope, that's what I'm asking for.
Any comments? The $14 an hour, 20 hours a week is $1120.
Well, that would be the top range, you know, hopefully I could hire someone within that, you know. I wouldn't have to go all the way, but,
Budget for the high. Under that,
right.
okay.
And it would be someone at the front desk, you know, check books in and out, answer the phone. And it'd be a clerk, basically.
Any questions? Are we okay with the part-time person?
I'm just, what, $1,100 a month?
Yeah. That would be high. Okay. How about you? Okay with that? Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. So we'll make the final decision. later
Right.
on. Okay. Okay.
Any other questions?
Call me.
That it?
You got a busy summer, huh?
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
You bet. Since we have a little extra time, let's go to indigent healthcare. This is we are required by law to provide indigent healthcare to the county And we have an individual hired that manages that. Yeah, hopefully I can find it.
You just had it, I just saw it while you're. Go down. It's gonna be, there it is.
There we go. I was looking for IEC. Okay. And we're required by law to have this department, and what it does is we provide healthcare to people who are considered indigent or low income. We go through a very strenuous process of qualifying them before we will actually approve it, and then we have contracts with healthcare, an agency that actually manages the payment process, and by that we get the best rates involved. And so far, go down here, the biggest cost right here, the medical expenses, that's what the healthcare cost is. And we've got this year 87,000. Not sure if that includes this last month it was $42,000. It was pretty big. We had two major claims.
I can hold you.
Okay, and so what we've got it budgeted for $160,000 for that. Most everything else is the same. Moved a little more in postage and training or conference you gotta go to. And the maintenance service contracts is the contract for the software that keeps track of this for the that helps us monitor and keep track of what's going on.
Who's in charge, who is the,
Casey Hart. She's the office, she offices over in the annex on the left side by with the adult probation. She has an office in there.
she didn't change her.
Yeah, she's pretty tight this year. She's down to, her total expenditure is 137,579. She only has 22,000 remaining. She's down to 13%.
So that 42,000 judge is talking about, it's not in that 87.
No,
So it's
we just
actually,
paid that.
it'd be 120.
No, I think it is in there, right? The 42,000.
The 137 is in there. It's in there now. It's not on that screen.
Yeah,
Right,
it's 130 now, not 87.
right. But it's one of those,
You don't know.
you don't know,
You know,
because what normally we don't have the major, as many major ones. But
And she does a whole lot about bed. You're qualified. Oh, yeah, somebody said about 8 years ago, right, a good job for the follow.
she does.
Even me.
Any questions? You're okay? Okay. Too much time. Okay, let's move on in the library. Who else can we do? Veteran. Let's do with Harry. And I'm not sure. Harry was working with Virgil and was working with me, so I guess
On what?
this is the veterans
he's at the bottom.
Just up there.
veterans
He's
officer.
way down at the bottom.
He offices over at the Veterans Memorial. In I think that's provided for us for free, correct? Or is it?
No, we're not charged.
We're not charged for it, but we do provide them with some money. We pay for something, but there's.
We pay the electric bill there.
Right. This is what. And he works part-time. He's currently at 17,000. He is going to be retiring in March of next year. And, he has, submitted a proposal. Did I send that to you? Is it in here?
It's in there, should be.
Okay.
There's
So,
several pages there.
okay, well. Well, that's kind of where we were at, where, for the next service officer, I recommend a salary be into about $50,000 range. And, which that is most likely not gonna happen, but we need to consider what we're gonna do, because he's gonna get the 5% on his. But there may be a point in time where we hire someone new and we'll need to have the, training. We need to have Harry train them on what to do unless they're already certified. In that regard, and just give them an update on that, so, what? More down here?
There's more.
This is my notes on our discussion. There's a lot of stuff that he pays for out of his pocket and doesn't, actually ever submit. There we go. This is where he put in service officer with the other veteran service officer, but in the majority of these cases, this is for much larger counties. We went back and looked at, the counties around us. A lot of them are paying, part-time, smaller counties. So these are,
I think we need to stick with the guns and the salary, we talked about yesterday.
okay,
No matter what they put.
all right. So what about the, overlap?
I mean,
If do we hire someone and have them, for several weeks and have them train with Harry? Or do they just take over when Harry is, has retired? In other words, there would be a point where we paying for two.
yeah,
I can figure how long will you have to train, 2 weeks?
Yeah, I think that would be the most.
I could pull figures and add 2 weeks of pay in there. But you have to, you have to create that position. You have to have. You know, when we trained. We had to go in and create a temporary part-time position.
well, why couldn't it be just like Bobby here? He's technically, I mean, he's asking us questions, he's training, he's not on the payroll, but he's learning. And, getting adjusted to this job, I could the new guy do that for 2 weeks before Harry retires. And just come in there and kind of learn and then go in.
You are required by law that if you're working for the county, they have to be paid.
But are they technically working or are they learning, training?
If they are training, they are working. You have to pay for training.
If the person is willing to volunteer and just do it for fun of it, that's an option, but you can't mandate he does it. So we're gonna ask him to produce training, otherwise they're gonna start with the day job. I'll volunteer, you end up with
Well, I would hope the new guy would want to do that too.
He's not an elected official.
Yeah.
He's not elected official.
But when's the last time you hired a road bridge to get a camp for 2 weeks there?
Not yet.
I can put 2 weeks salary in there.
That's
So and we'll make them know that there'll be, you know, that lapse.
Right.
I think will be key.
And we
I'll check with Jessica to make sure
may not find somebody either, so.
it's true.
That's very about somebody with management, be good, or somebody's been working in that.
He knows a lot of different people, but he hasn't, he hasn't conveyed to me if he's got somebody in mind. So the other items on his budget right here, office supplies the same, postage the same. Training 1,000. That would, kind of relate to the new position person. In addition to Harry, he goes to a conference in late summer. And then, the travel's 300. Maintenance and service contracts, I think he. Of 500.
So we just, on this one, we just need to discuss how we're gonna do the overlap when we go. Right?
That's correct. Sandy can add it in there. She said 2 weeks. On top of the 5% increase. So training needs to be increased from 500. Travel and lodging is increased. Travel should be about 300. So that's what we've got right there.
Training, of course, the travel. Just because it's a new person, stuff like.
Right.
Will bring part time.
I like the current arrangement. You know, if you go, you're talking a substantial amount of money to go full time and benefits in that regard. So I don't know if he's at 20 hours a week. Right now, I know he works certain days of the week.
So y'all, I don't think if he's training. I don't think we should give him the full salary and benefits, maybe put him like part-time and hourly, and then when he takes over the job, then give him that. I mean, that would save some money there.
It's been the same format for, you can still report.
Yeah, I
You're
don't,
just basically paying them to keep it right.
right. But I think that should be like a part-time. Where we don't have to do the benefits, they're getting paid by the hour, it's like a part-time, and then after that 2 weeks, when he takes over the job, then the salary and the benefits kick in.
There are no benefits.
No, there aren't.
It's a part-time.
Oh, it's part-time period?
Yes,
Okay.
he only works certain days of the week.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's already part-time. And that's why it's really not, can't compare it to the figures that he posted, because those are
Okay.
full-time positions and they're in much larger counties.
Pretty good little part-time gig.
Okay. So any question, are you okay with these numbers right here?
Basically, recently need to train. At 2 weeks to do it. They know we can say 5%, right?
Yes. Yeah, but already puts it in there. All right. Let's see what else. Let's go to
Misty's here.
Misty's here.
Misty's here. Okay, you ready? Oh, it's 9:30. Fine. Very good. Let me find there it was up there. Let's see what's printed out right there. All right.
Okay.
Hello.
So. You can see the numbers there, requesting a 5%. Those are the 5% numbers there. And as you go on down to office supplies. Office supplies, I'm not really sure if this would be considered office supplies, so that's why I categorized it under office supplies. And I sent in my packet, needing to make a purchase on a new safe. So that's kind of a security of our safe. I'm not exactly sure how old it is. I think Miss Charlene might have bought that safe years ago. It's had some issues with the rust on the bottom, I guess, from the flooding in the past, and the mechanisms are starting to actually fail yesterday. It's a lot of frequent use, so I'm requesting to be able to requesting funds to be able to purchase a new safe for the office.
And
So that's what the $2,400 extra in that line item. That's for.
are you gonna be able to make it for 4 or 6, 5 months? Till the new budget?
I was hoping to actually have money in my funds to do it with this budget season. I was really kind of tightening the belt. But we had a situation with check orders and a contract with Texas Bank and Trust. So there was some funds that was taken out of my budget to cover the cost of check deposit slips that I'm short. I don't know exactly, I'm gonna work on the safe myself. I'm not a technician, but I'm gonna see what we can do, and I will definitely get back with you on that.
Okay,
So with that being said, we go down to the next line, which is postage. I'm requesting an additional $1,000 for that. That actually, I wanted to put the extra funds in there just to cover, because the House Bill 3297, House Bill 718. I'm not sure which way the public's gonna go when the safety inspections go away. I see a lot of our citizens reverting to mailing in. They're not gonna have to get a safety inspection.
explain the safety inspections.
So the safety inspections is where you go to the service station, you get your automobile safety inspected for, blinkers, they check your tires and whatnot. So the state has said, we're gonna kind of catch up to other states. We're like number 34, I think, 32, 34, that's come on board with the other surrounding states in the US, and they've done away with safety inspections. Now that's the $7 that you pay to the service station. You're still gonna pay the $7.50, including the registration. We're gonna make it some kind of environmental fee, but you're still gonna have to pay that. So with that being said, our citizens aren't gonna have to go and get it safety
And does
inspected.
that $7 that we pay, does that go straight to the state?
No, that $7 actually stays with the service station. So in about 2015, 2016, when you went to the service station, you paid $14.50 for your safety inspection. And then the state went to a process called 2-7 sticker,
Right.
because they weren't getting the funds from the service station on time, so they split it. So you still pay your $7.50 at my office, you pay your $7 to the service
So
station.
when the inspections go away, there's not $7.50 that you're collecting, correct?
I still collect the $7.50.
And where does that $7.50
That
go?
$7.50 goes to several different line items. It's basically going to the controlling state.
The state,
Yes, yes,
even though there's no inspection being done, they're still collecting money for it.
It was originally $14.50,
Right,
so they broke it up in 2016, and they called it 271 sticker. So the first step is the service station, the second step is
and the inspections end January,
January 25.
okay,
So last year. So with that being said, you still can't do farm trailers, nothing with bins online, so that's probably gonna be a mail-in type thing, so. To cover, I don't know which way the public's gonna go on that, so I wanna make sure that we're well comfortable with the funds that we have in our post, to be able to cover the additional names.
well, the fact that postage is going up
And the
5.
postage is going up. And then we have the other House Bill 718, which involves dealers, no paper tags, there won't be any temporary tags. There may be more cost in postage, getting stuff back to dealers and whatnot, so that is definitely something that I just wanna put a little cushion in the year, just to make sure that we have, I don't wanna come up short, so.
Right,
And then, of course, I have to add the bonding in there, because there'll be a bonding, this budget season. And keeping everything the same as far as training and travel.
and bonding, is that for how many people, everybody?
So,
The bonding covers who?
the bonding covers myself, and then there's an umbrella that's covers my clothes, so I mean, correct, yeah.
The crime policy that the county has covers her clerk.
Okay,
That's just her bond there.
That's
She has
just my
to,
bond.
she has to do a state bond and a county. You can do two. bonds.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct, and that's every 4 years, right, so that's why it hasn't been on my previous budget, so that it will be, for January. The miscellaneous, I did add an additional 1,500, I'm not sure, Miss Sandy, if. I put that cushion in there to cover the cost of the checks. I do go through a lot of checks to pay the county and whatnot, and deposit slips, of course, we use a lot of deposit slips. I wasn't sure if that should have gone in office supplies, but we did pull those funds recently to cover costs of the checks that I purchased recently out of the miscellaneous fund, so that's why I added the $1,500. I think that should be sufficient to cover that for the budget. And that's
and it
really
shouldn't
all.
checks and deposit slips be in part of office supplies? No,
We did our miscellaneous this year, because that's where she had the funds to pay for them, but yes, we can change that, because it should.
Prior to this, those funds, that I was not aware that we were even paying for checks and deposit slips. None of my other banks charge us for that, and because I have 4 different banks that I deal with, I have 6 different accounts that I deal with. But something was going on the back end that wasn't communicated with me, and so that's why we kind of fell short, but I did have the money in the budget, I still have the money in there. So that additional 1,500 might need to be moved.
We'll move it, I'll move it to office.
Okay,
And we've also, located a provider for checks where we don't have to order through the bank any longer. The bank changed, whom they order their checks from, and we were unaware. And the charges quickly exceeded the $800 that's included in our depository.
okay,
So, Kenny has located another printing company that we start ordering checks from.
okay. And, are you handwriting your deposit slips?
yes.
Do you have the ability to have them computer generated?
I know, I talked to Miss Sandy about possibly, we are in 2024. There's a lot we could do, with the bank, possibly ACHing, because the county banks are the same bank. So ACH out of my account, to the federal trust account, to the county account, provide the documentation of that. I don't know if there would be a fee included into that, but that may reduce the cost of checks going forward, but it may be something that Sandy and Kenny and I might, have a meeting, discuss that to see if it's a way that we can save money.
As long as it's easy to track and follow it.
I want every department to feel comfortable with, whatever we do as far as funds. So whatever way Kenny wants me to do it, or Sandy wants it, that's the way I'll do it.
Y'all just have to understand the massiveness of that financial clearing account.
Exactly.
It's massive, and it's easier to track with checks.
Some paper, yes, I agree. But there's a
But
cost
we could
involved.
look at it.
But, we just gotta balance it out,
Okay. So I'd prefer that you move the checks up to office supplies
Yes, Sandy is taking care of
and actually move the safe down to miscellaneous.
that. Okay,
On that side, you get the DMV, so they got it, so they have the people work. They buy everything with it.
that particular account wouldn't wouldn't fall under being able to do that, because that's not just the dealers. That is county funds, not dealer funds, yeah, but I see what you're saying, so it included, you're talking about the vehicle inventory tax? Yeah, yeah. So vehicle inventory tax is very specifically, what you can and can't spend the funds on. Training is one that you can, and I did use funds out of that to send my dealer partner, chief assistant chief, to conference recently, so she was able to attend to get that vital knowledge about the new hospitals that are coming down the pipeline that actually affect her and the dealers that she, assists with. So those are things that we're able to use those funds for. So I was able to use those funds instead of funds out of my budget. So sure. And I will continue to do that again next year, just so that she stays up on everything she does. We have a lot of work to do when it comes to that hospital 718, working with our dealers to make sure that they're doing what they need to do, and we're doing what we need.
Is that already in effect?
Hospital 718, so this is where it gets tricky. Because the state, the DMV has until December to come up with the actual plan, how it's gonna roll out, and it will be probably July next year before it takes effect. So trying to figure out what I need to be prepared for in this next budget season, not knowing how we're gonna roll it out, was a little tricky. So I'm trying to put a little bit of padding in there for us to make sure we're okay. I still may fall short, I don't know. It's not, I'm making the best decision I can with the knowledge I have.
So if I've got a 1972 clunker that doesn't even run, I can get it registered now. If I want to, if I got insurance on it. In January 1st.
But you have to think about it. There's law enforcement out there that's gonna be aware this is happening, so they're gonna be looking really close.
They can still ticket you for unsafe vehicle.
Yes, sir. I think it's gonna be like a funds transfer.
Yeah.
It's more money towards law enforcement. Yeah. People will figure out a way around anything, even safety inspections. So they'll borrow their friends' tires, put them on their vehicle, get it safety inspected, and literally remove them. We've seen it.
Did you bring the reality budget?
Yes, ma'am.
And how are you on staffing?
Seeing new staffing at this time. Because of certain things, these new hospitals that are coming in. If the future goes to online registration and mail-in registration. Don't need staff for that. I mean, you have to still process the mail-ins, but I think we're in pretty good shape. Because I think it's gonna take a couple of years before these new laws actually really settle in
Right.
to see what's gonna happen. So I think we at least have one other budget season. To figure, see where the restoration is gonna go.
And what's the current schedule on the substations?
Current schedule on substations. And I will say, staffing is going great. We've been fully staffed. I've got one staff member that's just under her year mark. All the rest have been a year plus, which is wonderful news for our citizens, because the longer they stay, the more knowledge they gain, the better they can serve. So substations, Rangeline is Monday and Tuesday, then Wheeler's Wednesday, and Wills Point is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We're hoping to add more days to Wills Point. Eventually, I do want to get that up to full time. My goal is to, maybe add another day by August. That clerk over there is, been with us a little while and she's learning more. I want to make sure that she gets the proper training she needs. And so she doesn't have as many questions when she's over by herself. I want her to be able to process as many types of transactions that she can in that substation without having to send up camp to get that. So Training's still ongoing, we do monthly training, we'll probably just gonna cut that back to quarterly, because you can only, pound that information in so much. But it's worked, so that training, once a month, we've done that for over a year now, and it's really made a big difference in, where they're at as clerks.
And when do you do that? Isn't that?
Every second, the second Tuesday of every month.
Okay.
We've
I knew it
got,
was on Tuesday, I couldn't remember.
yes, we've had, DMV state people come in to broad training. It's been great, the state's really worked with us on this. I would like to say too, we get audited by everybody, here we get audited from the county, outside auditors. But I also have state auditing, and this is the second time they have changed the way that they do their audits. And I just recently had an audit, and we received the highest level with the state, and they call it low fraud risk. And they are very happy with Van Zandt County. They use us as examples to other counties.
Really?
Yes. So that is good. That's wonderful. We don't get a certificate or anything to hang on the wall. I requested that just so I could say, hey, look at us. But they are very pleased with our county.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have the state computers been up all the time now, or are you still having them down?
No, we still have statewide with those systems. That is something that they are desperately working on. There's a whole new system that's being built. They call it an RTS system. Everything is changing. Web dealers changing. Everything's being upgraded. They actually have been going around and running new T4 lines in our substations. They were just in Wheeler this week, looking at that system. They're trying to get us updated at the current location, the main office here in Canton, because we're at a T1 line, and it's not working. It has issues. When we get a lot of rain, we have issues. So the state is working on it.
Okay.
With us, and working with our IT department as well, but collaborating.
So I guess the net effect's probably gonna be the same if you move the safe down to miscellaneous and you move the checks up to office supplies. You're probably not changing the things. Yeah. Oh, any questions or any more? We good with it? Good with it? Okay.
Okay. Thank y'all so much.
I need to go get my paper.
Okay, take a 5-minute break.
Yes. I'm allergic to cold spring.
We need somebody entertaining on my piece. Thank you, Misty.
Did you do 1960? Did you do that? Send them a. So I'm gonna 15, I'm just gonna swap. In the nations. That's one of the. Yes.
Okay. Right, this is her own little account. Okay.
And we are.
Mercy.
You get some, medicine?
Yeah, he brought some clarity. Who's next?
We have,
Left my sheet here yesterday, but they took it, I guess.
what sheet?
I left my little schedule sheet I left it here yesterday.
No, here, you want mine? This is the Texas, retirement system. We got a lady that's gonna be senior again. Fine, I don't know. Yeah, you good. Is she we're gonna talk about the 2%?
I didn't see her, she didn't include me in a response back, did she respond to you? When you said this morning? Did you send her, you were gonna send her?
No, my question is, have you discussed with her about going to 2% from 1.75 and what the
Yes.
cost is? We figured out the cost, is that gonna be part of this discussion?
Maybe figured out the cost.
Okay.
We think.
Okay.
We use the.
All right, we are having, she did not get the link, we just resent it to her, and hopefully she'll join short. Oh, there she is.
So.
All right,
Knows we have these numbers. Thanks, Stevie. Sure.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Sit down.
I didn't know if it was my time or not. I was just waiting.
She is.
Are you ready for me?
Yeah, you're okay. Yeah, you're in. Good. Nobody's talking about.
Can you hear me?
Hey.
Oh.
Can you hear
I
us?
have it. Would you mind enabling screen sharing, please? Jessica. Thank you.
How do I? There we go. One moment, please. Everybody got a drink? I'm gonna get one.
I think this is what it's always been and just always stayed the same.
I could just said, I was picking it up here downstairs. I was hearing her talk in the ear and up there.
Really?
Bluetooth from my desk.
You know, once one, kind of like what you have. But I don't think you need to order them.
I'm sounding.
Yes. Yeah, we'll get to see when you get the one you got. And you keep the other for backup in case something happens. Yeah. Right. I think it would be this afternoon, but you'll leave it, so you use that. We'll wait. All would be that really all not. You think I'm just kind of.
But I didn't put the recommendation for that. So it says on the last one.
You got anything from 1 to 3, Judge?
Yeah. Yeah, I said, I
Um,
said it was October.
no. I mean, I don't have anything scheduled right now, but there's something, I don't know if. Virgil had the courtroom scheduled for bidding. Bid questions at 2:00. You know what?
We're opening bids for the dam.
Oh, open for
Dam.
bids, okay.
Keith is gonna try to be here for that.
Okay.
I was gonna give you, I'll come to your office before we do that.
Okay.
Talk to you about something.
All right. Roxanne, are you ready?
I'm ready. Are you ready?
We are ready.
Very well. We're going to start off with looking at the plan assessment. This is a document that comes out in April of each year, and it gives you your new rate for the following year if changes are not made to your plan. So as you can see, this is for next year, for 2025. So let's just go through your current level of benefits. You're currently providing an employee deposit rate of 7%, and that means,
Maybe she had a sneezing attack.
Ray, I got some credit for you.
yeah, it's like a coughing attack, more like it.
Okay.
That means your employees have to deposit 7% before taxes. Your options are between 4 and 7, 4, 5, 6, or 7%. The match you're providing at retirement is 175%. So it's important to note that this is at retirement. If an employee leaves before retirement, they're not going to receive the matching funds. If they withdraw in a lump sum, their account balance, they will not be receiving the matching funds. So I also have a history of your matching, your benefits, if that's something we want to visit when we start talking about the match in just a little bit. Your options for the match are between 100% or 1-to-1, all the way up to 250, in any number divisible by 5. Anytime the match is increased, you have 2 options. You can make it go future only, which would be from next January on, or past and future. So if it goes past and future, I'm going to scroll up here. It's going to go all the way back to 1968, cover any lower matches that you've had in the past. And then of course it will continue into the future. And the difference between the two is cost. Clearly, if you're going all the way back to 1968, you're going to have a higher cost. I do have both scenarios for you, since I know that that's something that you're considering. Your current eligibility requirements, you currently have an 8-year vesting in place. Your only option here is to lower it to a 5-year vesting. So this particular eligibility requirement, once your employee is vested and has at least age 60, they could become eligible to retire. The second way to be eligible is the rule of 75 that says age plus years of service equals to 75. So an employee who's 50, they have 25 years of service, they could retire at that point. And the last one is 20 years of service at any age. So someone starts at 24, 20 years later at 44, they would be eligible to retire. So I'm going to call this your level of benefits. For next year, to maintain the same level of benefits, your required rate is 7.63%. And I'm going right down here. It is going slightly down from where you currently are. And I will show you that in 1 second and the reasons why. At the bottom of the page, your valuation results, your actuarial accrued liability, which is the cost of your plan as of the end of last year, is $41.1 million. The assets available to pay for that includes both employee and employer contributions, $38.5 million. And the difference between the two is your unfunded liability. That's the $2.5 million. Makes your plan almost 94% funded. So pretty much what that means is of your cost of $41.1 million, you have 94% available in assets. And what's not available, what yet is to come, is a $2.5 million. Moving on to the reasons for rate change. On the last page of your plan assessment, it's going to give you a history of your required rate, the cost of your plan over the last 5 years. And then there's a table underneath, which will tell you why it's changed. I'm going to look at the last column because it's the most recent year. So currently your beginning rate is 7.59%. So this is what you're currently paying for this year. I'm sorry, your rate is going slightly up, not slightly down. My numbers got mixed up. So 7.59% is what you're currently paying. We had gains from investment returns. So any number in this column that's a negative number, it's actually positive experience because it's subtracting from your beginning rate, and vice versa. If it's a positive number, it's a negative experience because it is increasing your beginning rate. So we had 2 positive experiences and 1 negative. The demographic and other changes, this applies to what happens locally, such as not as many people quitting and withdrawing their accounts, or maybe employees not retiring when our actuaries think that they're going to retire, or maybe your payroll doesn't go up as high as our actuaries think. Each year, your plan is looked at by our actuaries, and your cost is going to get increased or decreased depending on how assumptions are met or not met. The demographic assumption, it's a 50-50 chance each year that it's going to be either a positive experience or a negative experience. So as you can see in previous years, you've had positive experience from this particular assumption. By adding and subtracting everything in this column, this is how we changed from 7.59 to 7.63. Again, your plan is almost 94% funded. System-wide average is about, for all of our employers, it's about 89%. So as it stands, you are above average as far as your funded ratio. Do you have any questions before I move on to the match?
Yes, ma'am. On the demographic, what changed so drastically this year that it changed by 200%?
I can barely hear you. Would you mind repeating that?
On the demographic, last year was minus 11%, this year it's positive 10%, 200% change in that gap, right? So why? And what we do,
Can someone get closer to the mic? I cannot understand.
that was off.
There we go.
All right, now you can.
Yes.
So I'm asking on the demographic, why did it go from minus 11 to positive 10 in that 1 year? What was that drastic difference? Because it didn't.
It's
do
not going, so you start at 0. So it's either so the previous year, it lowered your rate by 0.11. So this was a positive experience. This particular year, it increased your rate by 0.1. So again, this has to do with all these numbers. Your cost is based on assumptions about the future, educated actuarial assumptions about the future. So they're educated guesses. So our actuaries each year assume so many people are going to quit and withdraw their money. So many people are going to retire. Your payroll is going to go up or not go up. In your situation, your payroll is going to increase a little bit. So if those assumptions are not met the way that they assumed that they're going to be met, your cost increases a little bit. So for this particular assumption, it went up a little bit. Now it was mostly offset by the other 2 assumptions. But the reason we do this is to make sure you don't overpay or underpay for benefits you promised in the future. We don't have the crystal ball, so we can't say exactly what's going to happen, which is why they have to make these predictions. So we look at the predictions when they have not been met, costs could be increased. When they have been met and then some, costs could decrease.
So turnover has a big factor in that, correct?
Depending on how much. So there's already a built-in assumption that you will have people quitting and withdrawing their money. So it's when you have more people than expected that quit, that's when you have a positive coming from that particular assumption, or the opposite, not as many people quit and withdrew their money as expected. Because this number would be a whole lot higher if we assumed every single one of your employees would work for 20 plus years and then retire. A whole lot higher, because system-wide average, it's about a quarter of all employees, maybe a little bit more nowadays, but it's about a quarter of all employees will eventually retire, which means they're going to access the matching funds. So that's why you're not saving. That's one of the reasons you're not saving dollar for dollar what your employees put in. I mean, your employees put in 7% and you're matching 175%, yet your cost is in the mid 7%, 7.5%. So you're really not saving dollar for dollar what employees put in. Any other questions?
No, no questions.
Let's take a look at increasing your match. I mentioned a second ago that when you increase your match, you can make it future only or past and future. So when you make it future only, it will impact the most the people who have, you know, just started at the county or maybe have, you know, a handful of years. They have 15 plus years ahead of them before retirement. So their future deposits will now be matched at this new higher match. Past and future, it's going to pretty much reward everybody, but especially those who are pretty close to retirement. They don't have another 15 plus years down the road. They've already had 15 plus years in the past. So it will definitely impact those employees the most. So I'm going to start with future only because I believe this is what you're considering. I think this is what Jessica had sent me.
Yes.
So on this, in this column, the current plan is what we just saw under in the plan assessment, the first page of the plan assessment. So this is for comparison purposes. So future only 200%. This is the only change in this column. Your required rate goes from 7.63% up to 8.84%. Now, we do not hold payroll information, so you would have a better understanding. What does that mean in terms of dollars, especially since you're in the middle of your budget process and you know what your budget is for next year. The middle column, the 200% past and future, this is going to go back to 1968 when you joined TCDRS. And now that required rate jumps up to 10.7%. So the way that you would figure out the dollar amount that's being sent in is you could take that budgeted payroll, multiply it by this percent, and then you would know the total. You could also take the difference between the current plan as it stands and one of these two different scenarios that you might be visiting with. And then to take a look at under the valuation results, how does that impact the liabilities and the assets? Here's a 93.9% where you currently are with no changes to your plan. 200% future only takes you to 93.2. 200% past and future would take you to 89.7%. Now, there is a report that our actuaries can run. It does take about 2 weeks to generate it, and it will show. So what I'm showing you is the impact to cost, right, to your numbers. But as far as seeing how it impacts your employees, there's this report that our actuaries can run, and we can do it both on future only and past and future if you're interested in seeing that. So just let me know. You do have until December 15th to make changes to your plan. I understand the end of your fiscal year is coming up before December and at the end of September, but just FYI. Oh, and let me show you this history. I wanted to show you what your match has done. So I'm going to start from the beginning. This is 1968 when you joined us. When you joined us, your match was 1-to-1. And then stayed that way until 1979. It went to 120. 1983 went to 190. 1987, it went to 210%. Back then, there was no option to make it go future only. Anytime the match was increased, it automatically went to 200, to the higher match, 210. So it was a 210 through 91. So basically all of your employees' deposits that were before 1992 are deposited at 210%. Then it was dropped down to 175. Because it's a lower match, it's not going to go to the past, it's only future only. So you've been at 175 since 1992. If you increase it to 200% past and future, it's basically going back to 1992, because prior to that, you have a higher match in place. And if you do future only, it's going to be from 2025 forward. So you'll have these periods of years that are going to be matched at different ratios. Any questions?
What year did it go to 210?
87,
87.
I think.
Yes.
87 to 91. The 92, it went to 1.75, right?
Okay,
Did they retro it back in 87 when I went to 210?
did you hit?
I'm sorry?
Back in 87 when they raised it up to 210,
Mhm.
did they retro it back then or did that start in 87?
Yeah, there was no option to go future only. It was automatically retro back then. So any money deposited before 1992 is matched at 210%. And then since then, it's matched at 175%.
That answer your question, Chad?
Yes,
Did they retro it?
yes, they did retro.
Yes.
So people from the 60s and 70s got the 210. So our retro wouldn't be in effect until 92.
That's right.
Mhm.
Where do we break that down into cash about that?
Yeah, how much it costs, that's. If you go future or past.
I'd like to know what it costs for both.
Sandy put some numbers together yesterday. Sandy put some numbers together yesterday.
We only ran numbers for future.
Mhm.
I didn't run the
To go.
future fast, I can, but I didn't on that.
No, we never realized the retro don't go all the way back. It might be something we could do. If we know what it costs.
Retro would go back to 92, right? Right.
I don't want the retro back to 92, so.
But you
I'd like
see
to
the
see
difference
it.
in the percentage from
10%,
884 up to 10.
yeah, $2 million worth. Of your S or whatever assets or whatever it was. Goes from 8 million to 10 million.
Yeah, and you can just take that 2% difference and multiply it by your payroll, by your budgeted payroll, and then that will tell you what the difference is as far as what you're sending in.
So was that retro that you had on that chart earlier? Was that from 1992?
Yes. Because we're not going to go past that because this is a
Right.
higher match.
And that would be it on this budget, but after that, it would drop back down to just the normal.
Right after next year?
After next year, it would lower down, just going future. This first year would be a hit because you're catching up. Is that right?
This takes 15 years to pay it off.
Okay.
When you do past and future, the piece associated with the past, it's going to take you 15 years to pay it off.
Can you go back to that sheet that had, I think it's down at the bottom, where it goes from 10% down, right? Keep on, yeah, there it is right there. So if we went back to 1992, our unfunded is 4.4 million if we went past and future, and only 2.8 if you went future only.
Future only.
Right. So you can, we can take the difference between these two to see what the difference is in past and future only.
$4.6 million.
1.6 million for 15 years. Is that right?
That is correct.
What's the 15 years?
We amortize unfunded liabilities that come from benefit increases over 15 years. So like if you ever pass the cost of living adjustment for retirees, it would take you 15 years to pay it off. You don't have to send a lump sum. You can if you want to, but basically this required rate, the increase that's due from making it past, that piece takes 15 years to pay it off. So after 15 years, it would fall off and this would be, lower than what it currently is. If your plan was 100% funded, these numbers would be 0 and you would only be left with a normal cost. The normal cost says from now until all of your people are to retire, this is a cost associated with the plan. As you can see, 200% past and future and 200% future only, the normal cost is identical because it has to do with from now until your employees are retiring. It has nothing to do with the past. The difference here is going to come from your unfunded liability rate, which for the past and future, it's going to be significantly higher because you're going all the way back to 1992.
Yeah, $170,000 a year.
Well, the next question is like 1.6 million, that is just the total cost to do it. We're spreading it over 15 years, or is it 1.6 million every
No,
year?
that's the
15
cost.
years?
Yeah, the 1.6 is spreading it over 15 years.
Okay, so 1.6 is the total cost.
Yeah, it's not per year, no.
$8,800 a month, $106,000 a year. Whereas that'd be added on to what it already is. So we take that 4.4, divide that by 15 years. And see what our cost is per year, and then take the 2.8 divided by 15. To see what our cost per year, right? Yeah.
So also keep in mind that each year you will have losses or gains from investment return, from other assumptions outside of this plan change. So for next year, we know it's 10.7. It could increase through the years or decrease or go up and down, just like, the current required rate is going a little bit up or a little bit down every single year. And I'm letting you know that so that you understand that if this goes over 11%, is that something you're going to be comfortable with? And you could be, but just so you're aware of that.
All right, my next question is related to retro. How many vested employees do we have that would affect? Because a lot of employees leave and cash out, and a lot leave before they vest. So how many?
So it doesn't matter if somebody's vested, it's only if they actually retire. So the match is only applied when someone retires. If somebody's vested and they leave and they withdraw their account, they don't touch the match. They can't have the match. So it's really just a matter of an employee actually retiring.
And that's my question. When we're talking, we're going back 25 years. We've had a lot of people come and go in 25 years. How many of them are still in the retirement system and will qualify for their vest?
Right. So it applies to everybody. It's going to apply to everyone that retires, even if they've only been here a handful of years. Now, the report I mentioned earlier, it's going to show how it impacts your employees. It doesn't have a list of all of your employees. It's going to break them down into stages of career. So like the ones who are close to retirement, the ones who are already eligible to retire, the ones who are far away from retirement. So it's going to give you an average of how their benefit will increase as a result of this for your entire membership.
So is there anywhere wrote down how many people have vested retirement in our system right now?
From 1992.
Just how many people have a vested retirement in our system right now that were qualified to retire with vest when they get ready to, or that can, who's got 8 years in right now that their money is sitting in our system waiting?
Jessica have that one, yeah.
Yeah, Jessica, you can run, there's a report under reports. It has your member listing report. It has every single one of your employees and how long they've been there. And you can add filter to it if you only want to see, the ones that are vested.
And it's a retro back to 1992. So even if someone's gone, if they've got their 8 years in and it's just sitting there waiting, we'll be able to see it.
Now, if they left and their account is still open, this will also apply to them, even if they're not working here.
That's my question. That's what I'm looking for. How many people we have that this would actually affect? They've got their 8 years in, they're eligible to retire with their vest. That's what I want to.
Yeah, so Jessica, you can run that report. It's in the portal under reports.
Okay, I'll pull it up.
But honestly, this applies to everyone, not just the ones who are vested. Right? Because anyone, even somebody who's not vested, they will become vested if they stick around and retire.
I'm looking at the retro, ma'am. That's my thought process. That's what I'm trying to find out. I understand everybody going forward has the potential to be there. I'm looking at, I'm weighing the balances on the retro versus the not, and I'm trying to see how many people we're talking about helping.
Let me see.
And I think that report, if you're interested in it, that might give you a better view of how they're impacted.
I did have one more question on the retro too. So we got people that's already retired. They're drawing their retirement. How will that retro affect their retirement?
It won't. Once someone retires, the match changes do not impact them.
So they wouldn't see any more in their retirement from us
No.
retro.
If you want to impact them, you'll have to pass a cost of living adjustment for retirees.
Excuse me.
Those numbers supposed to be all the same.
Yeah.
Uh,
It was the 10.7 right now. 184 will cost you 129,000. Finishing up the other.
That's per year.
Look, that's what it'll cost you next year. That'll show me what.
Are you interested in seeing the report that shows the impact on benefits?
Sure. Yes, ma'am.
Are there any other questions?
of this, you gotta figure out the numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the good news is you have options. You have local control, so that's something you can visit with. Also know that you can make match changes in 5% increments. So if going from 175 to 200 seems a little too much, you can do 180, 185, 190, etc. So those are also options. So let me know if you have any more questions, even if it's, down the road, let Jessica know. Or Kenny, and then we can, if you want to see different numbers, you have the availability, as a matter of fact, through the portal to run these rate sheets to see how different matches impact your plan. The only thing you can't do is see how it impacts your employees. We run those, but this piece right here, you can play with that plan customizer as much as you want, and see the impact on your cost.
Anything else? Anything else? Okay.
She answered both my questions.
Okay. All right. Is this document, you gonna, make this document available to us?
Oh, yeah, it's already available to you. It's in the portal, but yeah, sure. I can also email it to you.
That email it to Jessica. And then she can forward it to us.
I can probably do that.
Or print, whatever.
I'll just hit reply, Judge, on that last email that you sent this morning, or just to you and Jessica if you like, and Kenny. And then
Okay.
I can just pass it along.
All right. Very good. Well, thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you, and good luck.
All right.
You already got them done, Sandy?
Huh?
You already got them done, don't you?
Well, just future only cost you 129,189, and past and future would cost you 320, right at 328. Now, that's just this year, just 2025.
Right.
Because that rate changes every year. Our match.
Well, hold on. My numbers are different years. Past and future was what?
Past and future is 327. Because it's based on our payroll.
Okay, and the future only was what?
129.
It's over doubled.
Yeah.
Like I know it changes. How does it change? Like what's the factors that makes it change?
That was the demographics that she was talking about on there.
That she couldn't give a good solid answer on.
But
It's,
what
they're
what are
based,
the demographics? Like I know that's what she showed us, but what does that entail? What does that consist of?
CRSP. They make up that.
It's their educated how they calculate whatever they use.
I don't know what that basically
It
is.
was a whole, laundry list of things she mentioned.
She did not have a breakdown of how they graded any of them.
No.
That's why I was asking, why did that one change so drastically? But I couldn't see the decimal points. I thought it went from 11 to 10 on the other side of the scale there.
0.1 plus 0.1 to negative 0.1.
Because she said it started
Yeah, I
at
thought it was
zero.
from -11 to +10. That's a big.
Right, well, it kind of looked like that. It starts at zero and then they calculate it up per game.
And it was based on, it's based on what they. Employees leaving and new
Employees coming.
employees.
Which that's a
But I
crash.
don't think that's just Benson County. I think that's a pool.
Full lot.
Pool.
So that number that they're getting is not, the number, they're not generating that number from Basin County alone, they're generating it from the whole pool.
Don't quote me on that, but I'm sure they're assuming that from a pool. Because that's how they keep the pool.
That's the way it works with
Does the pool have a
with the
lifeguard?
insurance benefits.
I'm sorry. The pool, oh.
Flotation devices, hopefully.
What's the difference? I'm just gonna go future only here with these numbers, but what's the difference what we're paying now to what we would be paying if we went future only?
That's the 129.
It's 129.
Right, future only is 129.
That's the difference.
That's the difference.
Oh, that's the
difference.
Okay, yeah.
That's how much more.
2025 retirement's gonna cost you about $815,000. If you go to 8.84, it'll be 943, right at 944. And if you go to the future or whatever, then you're paying like $1,143,000.
So it's currently gonna be 815 and we're gonna add 129 to it.
Per year.
If you go to future only.
Next year, it will change each year.
It'll change January 1st.
But you're gonna have an average of 130,000 every year. It'll tweak
That's gonna go up, yeah,
whatever.
130,000 your base.
Right, because it's gonna be based on the salary changes.
You're more than welcome to do past and future, that really got me a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm about to
you
say,
know,
I'll make
I can see where y'all said that, but you gotta look at that dollar figure too. That's a,
Why?
I honestly didn't know that we could even do a past and future until today.
that's a lot of money.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Are they talking about two?
yes.
Yes.
We're looking at it.
That's what our.
But that's why I wanna know how many people it would affect. For
Okay, I will
$1.6
see if I can
million,
figure out that.
how many people is gonna get a positive effect from it? Cause we got a lot of people that left here and never did 8 years, and they're never coming back, they're never gonna fix.
I got 5 employees born to get it.
A little bit pricey though.
It is, yeah, it's not a little bit price.
Like I said, unless we see what the number is, how many people that's worked here before and left that had 8 years in, that their money's just riding there. That's one you're gonna help. Anybody that withdrew their money or put in less than 8 years, they're never gonna see it.
They don't, if they're just still sitting there, all they could get is what they had put in.
Unless
That's
they
not-
come
that's
back
the
to
main.
work and finish out their 8 years, which they probably ain't gonna do this far in the game. So that's what I'm saying, how many people will we actually help?
So that's where I'm gonna run that member listing report.
You know, she told you, they didn't base their numbers on 100% retirement. If they did, we would have been paid.
Right.
Couldn't afford it.
I mean, if we're looking at 10 people from the past that we're gonna help. Versus 100 people we're gonna help.
I can name 1, 2, 3, 4 in this room. Us 3 up here. We're not there yet.
Man. We don't wanna know. We don't wanna know what you have.
I have 2, 3. Probably one have. No, 4, I have 4.
Are you ready? Yeah. We'll start early for you. That'll give you extra time.
If we actually need to do HR, we'll just do it.
Do what?
We actually need to do HR too, we'll just do it. All right.
No, that was just retirement. That was the schedule.
Let's do the HR right.
That was, who it came, who scheduled it. Yes. All right. Do you have a complicated process?
Well, hopefully it should be easy if you're comparing it to last year
Mhm.
or this year, the current year. The rumor being spread around the county, I don't know if it's true or not, is that the court is considering 5% raise for employees. I think that would be good. I don't think, I think that barely keeps up with the cost of living. So I asked Sandy to put that into my budget. Of course, you all know that that means that my people don't get a full 5%. They get 5% of their base. So like the lawyers, if you guys, if the base salary for a lawyer is 70 and I supplement that by 15,000, they'll get the 5% on those 70, they won't get it on the remainder. So, but I'm not griping about that, I'm just telling you. Other than asking for a 5% increase of the base rate for my employees, I'm not asking for any additional money. All my budget requests are identical to last year. See, I mean,
Yeah.
So where are you at on staffing levels? Are you fully staffed?
I am fully staffed, currently, yes. I did have one gap this year for maybe 6 or 8 weeks total was all, so I'll have that amount left in my salary line items, but, yeah, I'm fully staffed, quite honestly. If I had the space, I would be asking for another lawyer, because we're grounding, but, I don't have the space to put them in.
Are we still looking for another civil attorney?
No, we have one, Zach is doing the civil now.
Zach's doing civil.
Yeah, yeah, and I hired a new criminal to take his place. But he's gonna stay in my office. Physically, he's located in my office.
I do got a question, and I think you can answer it.
Sure,
We had a deal yesterday. I can't remember where it was presented at. Oh, it was Sandy. I had it helped me here, Sandy. That sheet that you had the other day, we're not getting money from the courts, you know, it's down a lot. How do we get that money?
wait, say that again, I gotta move this.
Sandy might help me explain this.
Court fines and fees are down. From
What
last
kinds
year.
of fees are that?
Yeah, they're way down.
And then they're asking me why, and I mean, I don't know.
Okay, I only know they were down, but I can certainly, our collections down,
The collections in the district clerk and
county.
she doesn't have anything to do with the JPs, but
Right,
the district clerk and county clerk fines were down. They're-
collections.
The collections,
Okay.
yes.
I just don't know how it works. I'm just
The
trying to figure
question
out
I had
why.
was, are the fines down or just the collections down? That's kind of the question I had.
And I don't know the answer to that, but I can find out. I can find out if the fines are. I think I can get totals of what we're imposing on fines. They shouldn't be down,
Compared to last year.
compared to last year. There shouldn't be any significant difference in what's being imposed. Now, I'll tell you this. Because the cases we're disposing of and imposing fines on now are cases that were probably charged 18 months ago or so, so they shouldn't be down at all as far as what's imposed. Collections, I don't really have anything to do with, but we can look at, I know I can pull reports through LGS to find out about fines imposed and make sure they're still being imposed like they should.
Do we have access to that sheet, Sandy? Where was that? What's it under?
If you go back in under your,
Here, I'll find it.
Oh, yeah, Judge, you can put it on the screen.
That's the theory.
There was one like $26,000. I don't remember who it was though.
if you go back to the front of the proposed budget, Judge. Go back one more. Now go into that copy of 2024. Yes. Look at it.
Opened over here. Or did it? There we go. I'm getting it over there.
Gotta get down to your tabs, go and see your tabs. There's 24 long funds. Trying to lower 135. It's not as bad. Little more, you know, they were. I don't know, if it's becoming active.
Right.
All right, which tab was it?
So this is what was budgeted for this year, this is what was brought in, and that's the.
Go that way, Judge, go,
If I can figure out how.
hit those three little buttons down there by that photo for. There. Okay, keep going, right, there it is, GF revenue detail. Yeah, you're in it now.
Line,
That's
You go down, you'll run into the yellow.
Well, there's one right there.
Yeah, that's our fees, which is effective, and you know, when we look at like yours and the sheriff and everybody's is down. Because, you know, when the county clerk and the district clerk collect revenue, you know, he gets part of it, sheriff gets part of it, you get part of it, and everything's down.
okay,
It's kind of,
so tell me that this 257 is what was budgeted
yes,
for this fiscal year that we're in. What's the 70
that's what's been brought in so far this year.
and what's the 121?
That would be the new budget based on what he's bringing in this year.
Oh, okay. And
So
that's a
it-
difference of 135. And district court, 229,
You know, we're gonna lower it to 202. And I did go look at the accounts receivable, Judge, and that's kind of hard, they're not. They don't equal that, but like Zach called our office yesterday, because they may do a massive dismissal. You know, JP's, like, JP one did a massive dismissal from a period of 2015 back. Well, that affects our accounts receivable, you know, and JP two is doing one.
yeah,
And those affect our numbers. So, you know, I never know when Tillo calls and says, why is the accounts receivable, court receivable, why is it such a drastic change? Then I have to go and find who did business. Cause I don't ever know what's making it.
so it shows as a receivable when
Yeah.
a ticket is issued, when a ticket.
I do it annually, I go pull their agents in all of them. I pull agents. And then I have to adjust that.
Yeah, there's always gonna be a big difference in JP court between those,
Yeah.
always. Okay, I can check in and make sure that what we are assessing is not significantly different. I don't know that there's no reason I know of that it should be. But I will definitely check
Just
on
wanna-
that.
Yeah, make sure there's not something slipping through the cracks.
I do know that things changed. It feels like a little more than a year ago. I don't know if that's correct or not. When we send someone to TDC as far as what we are allowed monetarily to collect from
Mhm.
them. The appellate courts put a big limit on us. That wouldn't affect the county court of law very much, because not many people from that court go to TDC. But it could affect the district court. Because we're not allowed to assess certain things against them anymore. But yeah, I can look at it and find out, because there should not be a significant difference in what we are assessing.
Okay.
But I don't know anything about collections.
Well, could you refresh us? You know, this past year, Bonnie had retired, Liz took her spot, and then there was some legislation, we moved that back into the clerk's office.
Yes,
Could you
Yes.
refresh us? Was it a have to or a should or a?
for a while, they mandated that we have a collection officer, separate collection officer. Then when that mandate went away,
They repealed it.
the way the statute now reads is that the person doing collections has to be an employee of the clerks.
Mhm.
We could not have an independent collection officer. So it has to be a function of a clerk person now,
The district or district and county?
both, yes,
Both.
both.
I remember how we just moved that position over underneath.
Yeah. And I don't know
Technically, we
anything,
eliminated the position. We didn't remove it. We eliminated it. Because-
correct, and y'all, the duties now fall to the clerks.
Correct.
Yeah.
So we need to ask the same question to the clerks that we asked you too,
Yeah,
because that's a substantial amount. If we can get it, that's another employee.
absolutely. Absolutely, yeah, that's why I'll look at it and make sure. It does seem to me like we're having fewer JP dockets than we used to have, but I don't know that for sure. I can look at that.
Well, I know that JP fine is controlled by the JP. They can
Yes, they can, yes, they have,
adjust that.
most JP cases are handled without our involvement. Completely without our involvement. We only get involved if the person wants a trial. But most times if it's just to work it out, that's done between the person and the JP.
Only thing that the JP has to pay is court cost on a ticket,
Right.
and then they can adjust that fine.
So I don't know where this goes. One of the things that Zach has helped me work on is, default judgment and bond forfeitures. When somebody doesn't show up for court, we file to forfeit their bond. It's a long process because it creates a new civil case. In theory, the bond company is supposed to show up and they usually only wind up paying about 10% of the bonds plus interest. And I don't know, I've never seen what the revenue off of that is, Sandy. I don't even know where it goes.
We have a bond forfeiture revenue line.
Okay, but we have had two companies that haven't, they're just fly-by-night companies who don't even show up for the bond forfeiture hearings, which gets us the opportunity to take a default judgment for the entire amount of the bond, which is what I've been doing for the last couple of years since these bond companies have been acting this way. And now we have all these default judgments, and Zach has been helping me pressure these bond companies to try to get these default judgments paid. There's not a whole lot we can do under the law. Man, if you want to make money, go be a bondsman, because that's the way to make money. They have a lot of protections, but anyway, one of these bond companies. Is this on Zoom?
Yes, it's being recorded.
Okay. One of these bond companies is, we're in negotiations with, and it's, right now they have agreed to pay $500,000 in July. Now, quite frankly, I'll believe it when I see it. But, and that's not a written signed agreement, we're in negotiations, and they have said yes to that. So, I don't know if y'all want that to come in this budget year, or he wants to wait, or what, but it does happen.
I would count the eggs before they hatch.
Sorry?
So I don't think I'd count the eggs before they hatch, so I'll bring it up until it's there.
If we bring in that type of revenue, then we could always increase that revenue line and expense the forfeiture. That's an eligible item to a budget, so.
I know I didn't have anything to do with the budget, but it came up yesterday and I was like, I don't know whether you have an answer to that.
I'm looking at the bond forfeiture line. Looks like we had a few bond forfeitures in 2021. And then maybe a couple in 2022, it's been real sporadic.
Oh, we've had them in
Revenue.
23 and 24. I've taken the check.
Well, there was a $25,000 check in 2022. For receipt. Maybe this is the wrong one.
We have, each court has dockets twice a year for bond forfeitures. They write me checks and I go turn them into the district clerk. They're just not huge ones because most of the bond companies show up and take care of their business, so they wind up paying 10%, which might be $1,000, $800.
You know,
Okay.
maybe I'm wrong.
Yeah, I don't know where the money goes. I just know I hand it to the district clerk or county clerk.
I was just thinking, if you was getting that much and it was a partial payment, how many bonds got forfeited from that company and why do we keep accepting them?
Well, and that's part of the problem. Again, like I said, this was a long process. The forfeiting bonds is a long process. These are from a period of time when Joe Carter was not the sheriff. And there was if a bond company has a default judgment in any county in the state, they are ineligible to write bonds until they take care of that default judgment. Prior sheriff allowed them to keep writing. And yeah, so. So another thing I thought I'd bring up, that's not about me at all.
I thought everything was about you. Go ahead.
I'm gonna advocate on behalf of the constables. I don't know what your plans are with them. I've talked to Jessica a little bit. I haven't had the chance to talk to Sandy. She's kind of busy this time of year to know if she's looked at how the new FLSA laws are going to apply. I think if you don't take the constables to, so July 1st, any employee who does not make $44,000, 44,000 and some change a year, and works more than 40 hours has to be given overtime or comp time to a certain point, then overtime. July 1st, that number goes to 58,600 and something. That is going to affect some one of my employees. I've already informed her, because she makes the 44, she doesn't make the 58, even with if y'all do give an increase, she won't make the 58. So I've already informed her that she'll have to go to hourly starting July 1st. So we're just going to do it at the beginning of the budget year. We're going to put her in the time clock system and all that. But my interpretation of the law is that if the constables are not paid 58,600 and whatever dollars a year, that they will be entitled to overtime.
Was that go into effect?
That goes into effect January 1st, but you can't raise their salary because they're elected. You can't raise their salary during the year, can you?
We know that.
Is that based on election?
Just because HR yesterday, and we didn't visit about it.
Is that based on elected officials also?
That's what I'm.
Yes, sir.
Is this
And-
federal law?
It's the federal law, the Fair Labor Standards Act. So if they are not paid 58,600 whatever a year, then they have to be given comp time and overtime. And well, the law says overtime, but we have the policy to do comp time up to a certain number of hours and then you pay it out or something like that. I'm not.
I guess their overtime would be based on their yearly salary divided by
Yep,
40 hours a week.
yep.
That's how much you make per hour.
Yep, and then it's time and a half. And I know in the past, the court has taken the position that constables are part-time jobs and blah, 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 blah. Guys, that's just not true. It's not a part-time job. It's a full-time job, and under the Fair Labor Standards Act, it's classified as a full-time job, whether some members of the court call it a part-time job or not. But, so I don't know what your plans are.
But that would affect just more than just the constables, wouldn't it?
I don't know. They're the ones that came to mind for me. Now, I'll tell you this too. And Jessica and I have talked about this. I disagreed legally with some of the guidance that was given to the court by our former HR person. But he and I see eye to eye on a lot of things, and I just kind of stayed out of it. But there, additionally, I don't understand why we're paying overtime to lieutenant and above at the sheriff's office. I don't think you have to. I think they can be exempt positions. If you find anything different since we talked about
Anything different than they did used to be.
they need to be exempt positions, and I know the prior HR person,
What'd you say, Lieutenant, who?
lieutenant and above should be exempt.
Your administrative.
Deputy is.
Yeah, chief deputy is exempt now,
Now, yes.
but so the lieutenants and the captain should be exempt under the law, is my,
I think all that changed because Sheriff Corbett stated that I had to control who is exempt.
It's federal law, it's not.
So with you saying that, it's law coming January first, I mean. I agree with you on the constables, but we basically need to look at the whole sheriff's department. Because
Well-
the deputies, they're making whatever, they have so much overtime.
I don't think under the law you can make a deputy exempt.
No, not exempt, but just like the constables, if you don't pay them 58.6, you have to pay them overtime. Well, like our deputies make 54, 55, whatever they make, I don't think they make 58 yet.
No, but you're gonna have to pay them overtime no matter what, because they don't meet the other requirements for being exempt. But I think lieutenant and above does. Right now, you're paying overtime to lieutenants. And that's a supervisory, that should be an exempt position.
Right. You're like us getting overtime.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm kind of confused with the constables being elected officials, how that's gonna affect them.
It doesn't exempt them from FLSA.
That I couldn't find any answer on. When I read it.
We could reach out to Pat, we can ask Pat,
Yeah,
because she and I went through all the
Looking
lines at exempt employees.
But not, elected officials to you.
We didn't look at elected
Right.
officials or whatever, but we looked at all the exempt employees, she gave me a list of all of them, which we missed Melissa.
Yeah,
And,
I told her that we did.
yeah,
But I'm arguing.
but this is going out
Yeah, I knew that.
at the start of the budget year, and I've already talked
But
about it.
it didn't register with me of an elected official. I just didn't even go there, I think.
Yeah, I did some. I looked at it and I can't remember what,
Here's the rule, but
yeah. But I found something that said. I'll look again,
We should get TAC, give us the,
yeah,
have them. Tell us which ones are gonna be required to go exempt or hourly.
so how does the position go? What's higher, lieutenant, sergeant, lower than?
sergeant's lower than lieutenant. So deputies and sergeants. I think we'd still have to stay. Hourly. But then it goes to lieutenant, captain, chief deputy, sheriff. And I think, like, I don't know what's Stucker, is he terminated overtime?
Is there-
That should be an exempt, yeah.
Well, we have them again on, Monday, don't we, Judge?
Yes.
Will Stucker make 58? though?
We have,
Well, the other lieutenants do, so he does, yeah. Yeah. And they don't know I'm telling y'all this one.
Unless they're watching.
I think
Oh,
Stucker
they
makes
probably-
captain wages. Stucker's a captain.
I'm looking at stuff.
How does it go? Captain, sergeant, lieutenant? Is that right?
Sergeant,
Sergeant,
deputy sergeant, lieutenant, captain, chief deputy sheriff.
Stucker with the increase this year. Doesn't include the 9,200.
It'll be 65. It'll be at 65
Yeah, I've got too many.
with the increase.
You have to do. Yeah, 65 cents. Now the lieutenant's not making that much. At the jail, she's only at 54.
Then she would have to be, but you can change a non-elected official during the year, so you could wait till January 1st to do that, but. If you wanted to make her exempt, but if she's not,
None of the jail, all the jail does time sheets. Only one out there's not. And
But-
sheriff.
but. Stucker, Melanie,
That-
Jeremy,
No,
Kettner, and Cook, all should be exempt.
And I think with our constables. With the 5% that we talked about. I think it took them up to, I don't know what it took them up to.
I got it right here.
They probably do more than $4,000 work.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Took them to 50,925 with a 5%. But do we include their
Yeah,
certificate?
they include a certificate pack.
It's just their strictly their salary. I don't think.
That'd be a whole other can of worms. You'd have the elected official that sets his own hours, making an hourly rate.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I guess it's unfunded mandate.
What do the clerks make?
They're all
60, I think.
63.
Okay.
But the
The
JP,
JPs aren't there either, they're at 57,750. We'll have to read that to that.
Okay.
Yeah,
I don't know.
maybe there's some exception that. Yeah, because the federal government, they put exceptions in the CFRs and all that stuff that you gotta go dig and dig and dig for, so.
So what other goodies do you have for us?
Yeah, you just opened a can of worms right up there.
Well, I didn't know about it because it opened a can of worms at the CAC where I'm on the board. That's where it first came to my attention, so. I guess that's all I know, guys. I'll be happy if we get that.
So are you good on vehicles?
Yep, all good.
Okay, and office space is an issue.
Office space is an issue. We really need an intake attorney. But I just don't, if you haven't been to my office, I added one small office that's like 7 by 10. I just don't
I had
have.
trouble finding the desk.
Yeah, and we had to find a desk, yeah.
Put the desk in, we go to the room.
Yeah, but, yeah, I just don't have room for another lawyer. We tried to figure out how to make the lobby smaller and make that an office, but we couldn't come up with a way that would work, so. That's all I know.
I'm not gonna ask you anything else, because you'll find something else.
Where's Keith today?
I don't know.
He's supposed to be here this afternoon.
Yeah, he had some other appointment that he had committed to.
He knew I'd be easy.
Yeah.
And we appreciate that, man.
That's aggravating station.
All right.
Oh.
Where's your hat and boots today? I didn't feel like it. I didn't feel like it would be appropriate for that, so. I'm having to have cigarettes with my hat, boots. Oh, okay. I'm gonna risk that. Oh, yeah, that's.
All right. Let's see. Got time to do, I'm gonna go. Find emergency management. If I can get to the right screen. All right, 5-minute break.
Because you got agri coming in 11:30.
Yeah, so if they get here early, we'll just start with that.
Judge Reese, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
Get a position? Chris is over there, let's show me the picture, so thank you. Very much.
While you're on break, I want to read you about something.
Okay.
Away from.
I understand. Did you,
Yeah.
did you see that email I sent you about that?
That would be more there.
How are you? Yeah, I see your email. I was going to make cookies, and I was going to put them in the mug, and I was like, do you take it to the court? It's not.
At least over there, second, she made some on
I think it was Tuesday, she made 2 batches of them. And we try to keep them a secret, and I guess the secret got out. They're gone.
They're out.
Now it's stuck with Oreos.
So dedicated for always has to be good treats. Yeah.
Hold on, next time, don't be telling anybody. Just keep them over there.
So are you in the Wheeler area? Do you know my son, Richard Keith?
Oh,
And his wife is so bad.
oh, no, no.
Do you know?
Your daughter is, I never know her name. How do you say it? Shekinah. Yeah, no, yeah, okay, no, I know Shekinah too.
March invitations and give out certificates, but when you stop to say something, and I said, choose me. Just really say something so that it'll help you get a connection. I don't know. Barbara just laughed.
Barbara Crow?
Barbara King.
Oh, Richard's mom. Okay. Yeah, no, I've known Richard, me and Richard was swim together. I've known him a long time.
A long time.
Long time.
Say.
No, me and Richard are buddies. He's my friend. I can tell you some stories about Richard, but I won't. On his behalf.
Yeah.
Speaking of, she's due pretty quick, and she.
She's getting used to it. Now she's doing August. I mean.
August?
Yeah. Yes.
I know I saw Richard at a basketball game by himself. And I didn't know he got married.
Oh.
And he had a wedding ring on. I was like, what in the world is that? He's like, he goes, I'm having a kid too. I was like, what?
Yes.
Like, yeah, but that was like in November, December. So I was like, it's getting. We know what it is yet?
Little boy.
It ain't gonna be little.
Oh, that's what I kind of told him. It's like, well, like you're tall, he's tall. Yeah. I said, oh, what's she trying to do?
We know Grayson, don't you know Grayson?
Grace.
Richard's boy.
Yeah, Clayson. Yes.
Clayson, not Grayson, Clayson.
Clayson.
He's a big old kid.
Yes, he is. Yes.
He's only, he's going to 8, going to 8, I think it's 7 or 8, I think he's going to 8. Yeah, he's going to 8 because Richard was dropping about having to go to junior high football games.
Yes.
He's going to 8.
Yes.
Big
He
kid.
is such a big kid.
Yeah. My wife taught him, and she loved him.
Yeah, and then he loves the daughter.
Yeah.
She practically.
Oh, she was.
Yes.
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 I remember that. I've been saying, you well. Even one that is like, hey, did you think we're doing? I think I'm giving that off.
How are you?
Hey, look at y'all.
My son is in Smith County, and so we're gonna do this workshop for teachers and stuff, but we sent it out to all of our local ISBs here in Zandt as well.
Yeah.
And, FBI, the DA, I mean, a lot of different departments, FACA, Fighters Against Crimes Against Children, all of them, we've got, it's gonna be a full day, so the teachers can get their continuing education.
I don't know if people realize how bad that is around here,
It's huge.
especially if those truck stops.
Yeah, and so, we've seen it, but, you know, obviously that's not, I didn't think of it, so, I had a student, I said, I know, I was trying to change her, trying to join the president, so, I'm like, so we're gonna have this, I think it's interesting.
It's a big, you don't hear about it, but people don't know about it. I don't know even quite specific, but I know it goes on.
Yeah,
What do
but
you
we
think?
got this, so we're gonna have that, it's a big event, it goes to the TBC. In partner with us.
We're waiting on Commissioner LaPrade and then we'll be ready to go.
All right.
So is Harley working on a replacement or do you know?
I don't know, so far, we did filtering calls.
And then I'm turning them to the surrounding counties, or mostly Tommy.
It sounded like that they were gonna get audits and they, according to Hurley, and that they would take it external if they needed to, and that's not the only county that, you know, that solution.
Yes, because that's what she was.
They're choosing not internal, but external.
Yeah, that was like. No, round one.
Hi there.
I'm getting there. All right, you're on.
Okay, well, how did you, I just walk through it since this is my first time to do something like this?
That'd be it. Just tell us what you're proposing.
Okay, basically, we're just asking for the same that we had last year. And really, there's no increases on anything except if you guys did, yeah, ask if you guys gave county raises or something like that, that we would be considered. But other than that, we just kept everything just the same. We were able to do our programming with the monies that were already allocated.
Awesome. So you got more travel coming in this year?
My travel will be pretty much the same.
Because what I'm saying is you've only spent 5,000 so far and your budget at 15.
Well, if Allison was still here, there is a workshop that we both were supposed to go to, and it would be, it's like $1,500. It's gonna be, they're hosting it at the Anatole. of all places for us to have to go. And so it's like a week stay, and so that would have been another, and I talked to Hurley since I'm.
That's the one we came before the court to get our policy
And
changed,
so
correct?
I have to, if we both would have had to go to that, that would have been, you know, over $1,000 a piece for us to go, then the food and the registration and all like that. So because Hurley told me he was gonna get back to me, because I do not want to be gone a full week being an only one agent, you know, and so, that, those sort of things would be added, you know what I'm saying? If we
Right.
would use
Right.
that. What else do we have? There are other programs that I have not included, so if having that cushion is kind of nice to have that.
Mhm.
Because when we get the other agent, if they went to all of the major shows and did all the things like that, that would really eat that up. I picked and chose what I was going to, and also that new agent will have all those new trainings.
Okay.
Yay for them. It's them and not me. So, I mean, I was very selective. I tried to be.
Okay,
And
we appreciate
conscientious
that.
on the monies. That's why when we came and we asked for that increase on the hotel rooms, you know,
Right.
I didn't want to go over. I wanted to make sure we were on our budget.
Yeah, and you said that the conference at the Anatole
Yes,
was going to be mandated
it
That
well,
was-
yeah, it was
by who?
Curly.
Okay.
Because it's a 12-week, it's the National Agriculture Association.
NACA.
And so that's all Allison, but because I'm here, they're gonna have us come in and help put on presentations, help with the tours that they have going on in surrounding counties, and all of the FCH agents were gonna have to help. And so I kind of sent him another email just saying, hey, because he told me to hold that week open.
Right,
And so I didn't have to pay for the registration nor anything. And with extension, just like me going to Judge Roundup, extension doesn't say, oh, you're an agent, we need you to come. They say, you're an agent, we need you to pay to come down here and judge. So I had to pay to go judge this last week and pay for the meals and pay for my stay. So people think, oh no, you're an extension agent, they'll take, you know, that's not how it works. And so just so you know, that's kind of, and so some of my travel, I just turned in, was it Monday? And I turned that in Tuesday. And so that was for state roundup. So that will be some money that will be spent there, but
okay, it doesn't show you spent any postage this year. Is that because you stocked up on stamps before the end of last year?
Well, A&M gives us a limit that we spend, because we used we have our own little scale and everything postage. I think the only time that we use the postage through you is if we ask them to mail a check that they had to print or something.
Okay,
Otherwise, A&M pays our postage.
okay. Why don't we just drop that and Sandy will give you a roll of stamps?
Cause yeah, the only time, like.
Somebody, we'll get.
If Irma has to mail a check for her dues or membership or something, but most of the time she'll send it to me and I'll mail it off. But
Okay.
that's the only time I've ever seen postage paid.
Yeah,
for you guys.
it's just one less thing we have to keep up with, and we'll get you a roll of stamps when you need it, and so where do you, the materials that you get for your programs, is that all under office supplies?
Yes,
Okay. The cooking shows and things like that, or what?
if it's not paid through, one of the programs, then yeah, then I'll just purchase the supplies.
Okay.
What's the total other costs?
That's the total of those lines, 24,000? That's the total from all those above.
Yeah, it is.
Okay. Very good. It really looks nice over there. How's the garden going?
That weather, not so good. I'm disappointed, but, I'm also looking for some food to put in the. Fertilizer.
You came to the right place.
I got a whole house,
Dude,
about the size of this building right here.
that's what I'm needing, and this lady told me I'm gonna bring by grab it, and I was like, okay, great. There. But it's starting to fix up, we have some blooms, I was out there working in it the other day, we have some tomatoes, yeah.
And you got your faucet?
Faucet
So-
in. Yes, I do have one question. And, I just am curious, I'm trying to find a place to do, our 4-H meetings, we have our 4-H meetings are gonna be held at a Texas Farm Bureau. But, like our culinary arts, they want to have cooking class, cattle, a lady that's doing all the beef cattle courses and everything, and we've been wanting to use the, fairgrounds. And so, and also the arena, and so I've been in touch with Amy Bork and, Joe Burns. But I haven't heard anything back. Do you guys know of anybody else that I could contact?
How big are the classes?
They'll probably be anywhere from 15 to 20. It's no more than.
Would Buchanan running at the library? Or that night?
It's like-
Well, it doesn't matter, but that's available at night.
Is that good then?
Yeah, you need to talk to them.
Okay, and
As far as the
in arena, because they wanna work on their showmanship skills, if they wanna host a clinic, or if they wanna, right, all the kiddos would be 4-H registered online 4-H members, so they have their insurance. You know what I'm saying? They come with.
Have you talked to any of the churches? Some of these cowboy churches have arenas.
So I heard about that today. Is there one over there by, she's saying Martinsville?
One in Martinsville that has one, there's one down here
That's one.
on 20 that has one. I don't know if that's San Jose County though, maybe call it, it's right there on that line.
Okay,
There's another one, Grass Lane's got a big arena.
There's a whole bunch of them.
Yeah, there's arenas everywhere.
There's one in Ben Wheeler.
Ben Wheeler has.
Yeah.
That's the church in Martinsville. I call it Martinsville, you may call it Ben Wheeler, right there on 858, we're 773.
Yeah.
Cowboy,
No, 58.
is it 858? Yeah, it is 858. Yeah, that's the
Because I've been
church.
trying since May, and I'm like, maybe I need to try another facility, and so I'm not getting back.
Talk to Vicky McAllister. Because I think she contacts them about use of the facility for emergency management stuff.
Okay.
She may give you some insight
That'd be great.
on who to.
Okay. Okay.
The city of Grand Slane's got I call it the po' boy arena. It's called the po' boy radio. Right there.
You could get with the rodeo association, you could probably use their arena.
Uh,
I can get you
What,
some contacts for them.
when are your meetings?
Well,
Weeknights?
It'd be, yeah, on the weeknights, yeah, and I'm letting.
So you
we
need
have-
lighted arenas, right?
But if I'm letting the project leaders decide when they wanna do their meetings, and so I'm really excited, we have a kind of come together and put together a new team. We are one 4-H club that spans at 4-H, and so, we're running about 160 some kids, we keep kids coming, calling, like, wait, don't spend your money, we'll kick off again in August. But, I've created a whole new team, and so we have a lady that's gonna do our cattle along with Pecos suits. We've got, a lady that's gonna do the, rabbits. We've got somebody that's running our, what is it? The horse, ag med for 4-H. I mean, we got a couple that came in, husband and wife team. So all we're gonna have the training, the background screenings, all this stuff. And so, I mean, we're gonna offer more than we offered last year, so I'm
Wow.
excited.
Excited.
about this. Yeah, it's gonna be great.
I send this in your monthly newsletter, right? Or
Yeah, it will be.
will be?
Yeah.
Okay.
So just so you guys know where it's happening.
Okay.
All right, well, thank you for
Very
your information and more than I need to do, or
No, that's it.
that's it.
Just made the presentation.
Pretty quick. Thank you, guys.
Thank y'all. Well, that should conclude our meeting, budget workshop meeting for today. Now I gotta go. Put things down.
Well, thank you.
Three.
3 o'clock. Who's doing the bidding, or who's going to be at the meeting at 2 o'clock?
Myself and Janet Holmes will be here to open and talk to the vendors.
Okay,
So the dams,
all right. So,